Hey everyone, welcome back. So today for today's video, we're going to be looking at these 1999/2000 Revell Pro Finish NASCAR kits. As you can see here, I have 3 of them. But the thing is here with these kits is that, as I am aware, is all these kits here are essentially the same. Well, minus that the body is slightly different between models. So, if anything, I'll just be, what I'm going to be doing is, since these cars are all the same, and pretty much have the same parts, I'm going to be taking a look at just opening up one of the boxes, and this one here, got some Jeff Gordon stuff, so might as well take a look at this one. So, on the box comes with glue, and then just a bunch of information about it, then showing you got the display cases that were available at the time, which would have been nice to get, and then some information about the series at the time. So let's get into it. So starting off, we get the mini little figurine for the race car driver. That, by the looks of it, will have to get painted up. Then we got left and right side roll cage, which is pretty nice. Then, of course, you could definitely detail it up. Then you got a set of 4 Goodyear Eagle tires, printed on one side, plain on the other, in a flexible rubber. Then we've also got the screws, the axles and axle pins, which is nice. Now the thing with these kits here is that they're already pre-decorated, which is really nice, as sometimes these NASCAR kits can get quite complicated with the paint jobs. So here's the body of the car. So as you can see, it's a nice semi-gloss gray with all the details done up. And here got an opening hood. Got molded with the chassis molded in gray. And then already got the windows inserted. The windows come pre-inserted and already detailed up, which is really convenient, as sometimes it can get quite annoying trying to do the detail work on that. Then here's a chassis with fair amount of detail, which is probably slightly different since you have to screw the car together. So that could be a slight difference to the typical Revell NASCAR kits of the era. And while the car is already partially painted up, you do get a decal sheet, which I'm pretty sure are water slides that will stick onto the bodywork. But they're fairly nicely done. And then, continuing on, also got parts bag of assorted colors. And one thing I am noticing right away is this is more of a full kit instead of a quick snap together kit. Instead of that AMT NASCAR kit that I built earlier this year, that I'll take out fairly soon. So here we got the suspension components. Front suspension, says here you want to remove this portion here before installing. Then you got your dash, coolant lines, shifter, and steering wheel. Very nice. Then we got here the roll bar and some cross members. And then what looks here to be like, I'm guessing, is the net restraint. So there's that. And then get more to some of the other random stuff. Got the wheels here, which is done up in the black. Done up in black, which I believe is correct. Then got the engine belts. Not entirely sure what this is. Then we got control arm. And then of course got the seats. Or the seat, I mean. And then got more of the interior roll cage. Then got the oil canister, as well as the rear roll bar with fire extinguisher. Front suspension cross members, air intake, and firewall. All very nice. I'm fairly certain with a lot of these parts here are going to have to be painted up in a silver to be correct to an actual car. And then we got some more, then we got a little bit more rubber. And so we have the netting, which is, surprisingly, it is rubber. So it's rather realistic to a real car. And then as well as some fuel lines, or at least that's what I'm thinking they are. So that's an interesting feature. Then we got some engine parts. We got the engine, the aluminum intake, valve covers. I'm thinking those are springs, but those are pretty big for a car like this. Brake calipers, radiator, an engine head, and then the oil pan with coolers. And of course, then you have the side exit exhaust. And then we've got the engine block halves, underside of the exhaust, struts and suspension, and a fairly nice 4-barrel carburetor, which not as detailed as some, but pretty nice. Then got exhaust headers. So that's pretty much it for the parts. And a lot of this, I'm thinking, depending on how I go with this, I'm probably going to paint a bunch of this light gray stuff. This light gray stuff here in a in probably a silver color to be more realistic, to represent an aluminum engine along with the transmission. Paint up the exhausts and whatever. So with that, and then I'll grab my AMT version of this kit and see how that compares. So I got the car that I've got, and then first of all, you can definitely see the boxes definitely have the same idea. Big bubble window for the body. Then this one here's the Jimmy Johnson Chevy Impala. Then I'll leave a link in the description for the original review on this kit. But that's so. And then with this, it was done. That was done earlier this year. That one, I believe, it was only a parts review instead of the full build. What I would have done now. So here's the car, and then of course, besides the obvious that these two are a different era of NASCAR vehicles, this one here was more of a snap together kit that snaps into place, but I do have on the front splitter where it did involve being screwed together, as well as a lot of the internal pieces. But you can see here with a lot of the undercarriage, it's all painted up. It was more done in black. Then it's got the tires that roll together. And then might be a little bit difficult to tell, but you can see that this is more designed as a curbside kit. So unlike this car here, where the engine or the hood opens up to reveal the engine bay, the hood is sealed on this, and you can technically reach underneath to pop the pins, but the engine bay is very basic with not a lot of detail. So there's that. And then it's also got the windows that go all the way around. Then with the window net part of the roll cage, unlike here how it was made out of rubber, which was really nice. And then with this kit here, it came with the choice of both stickers or decals. This one here, I figured use the stickers and use the decals on a potentially later build, which I've still yet to use those, because I'll show you here. Oh, it would have came in there was two different sticker sheets, and this was these were the water slide decals that could have been used but weren't used. So pretty much, so there's that. And then along with this only being a quick build, this is more oriented as a full build. So right away I can tell that the Revell kit from 20 years ago essentially has got a lot more detail towards it than the AMT version from 2010. But the thing is here, on the AMT version, you have little details like the wheel hubs that have been painted up with the lug nuts. Whereas with the Revell, the wheels are just molded without any extra detail. Which I mean, for 2000 technology, it sort of makes sense, I guess. But so that's a good thing on this part. Then here on the interior, it might be a little bit hard to tell or get in there. There's okay there. But anywho, the interior is rather basic with not a lot of detail. And there wasn't much for interior. There wasn't any interior stickers. So those made it. So this here has made what was I gonna say? Yeah, these here was a lot more basic, but you got slightly more detail in some regards. But then again, with this, you get more detail in some regards since you get a full engine and you get to build the entire underside. Whereas how with this, it's just one full piece with just a small few parts clicked together. So there's that. And probably going, so if anything, I'll probably put a bunch of stuff together, see how it goes together. Well, I guess pretty much like any other NASCAR kit. So I'll consider putting some stuff together and yeah, I'll let you know anything about it as I go along. So after a little bit of time of building, I've got part of the car assembled, but not totally. So for instance, I haven't put the body on or got it detailed up yet, but for about 45 minutes to an hour, you can pretty much get the entire shell along with the interior, and components all put together, as well as the really nice NASCAR engine. And for this here, I was thinking about detailing the kit up, but as I was going through it, I figured do it as, like, say if it was going to be built for a child back in the day. So everything on here goes together fairly easily. The only struggle I had was on the bar on the back, the W bar on the back. That was a struggle to get on, since you have to fit it in between the oil cooler, and there's some locating tabs underneath where they fit into, and you really have to press it all in there in order to get it to properly fit. And then along with the roll bar, it's pretty much a case of just trying to get everything to fit together properly. But as long as you get it glued down first, and then you start putting parts together, it won't turn out that bad. And for if there's any experienced NASCAR builders, you can have you can do a pretty decent amount of detail work to something like this. And then, so there's pretty much that. And then got the front and rear put together. Now the back here, I put the tires directly together to limit the amount of roll play with the tires, since these here won't get played with. And pretty much underneath, and same along with the front, which on the front has fairly nice pins to install the wheels on. And most kits I've seen, they're like a plastic pin that's either molded too short, too long, and not the right thickness. But with these pins here, they keep the wheels on together really nicely, so those won't fall apart. Then pretty much case of rear suspension will just sit into place, and then will be glued into position when I get around to it. And then the one thing that I almost wasn't sure about is on the exhaust. There's two tabs that are used to connect it to the frame. And originally, I was going to install it on, and then put the rear suspension on afterwards. But I began to realize there's quite a few locating marks on. There's a few locating marks on the rear suspension. So, in order to properly accommodate for the build, these would have to be installed first. These have to be installed first, like so, and then afterwards, the side exits end up fitting in almost like just about like so. So if I can get it to line up, yeah, like so. And then afterwards with the engine will just fit right in, mount on, and then the exhaust will line up, and then it'll be all there. And then it'll be a case of getting the air cleaner on, and with the rubber parts, have the window net off for now. But I'm surprised for the rubber. It's a nice flexible rubber at that it can be glued down easily, because there's some rubber-like materials that if you try gluing them, they don't work. And this is the cement you get, and this is the cement you get with the kit, which I forgot to mention. So, just some ambroid glue. Probably, considering these were sealed kits, the glues might be still good, but I'm just using the modern tester's glue on this. So there's pretty much that. And then I do have the Bobby Labonte number 18 Interstate Batteries Grand Prix, as well as the Dale Jarrett Ford Credit Quality Care Ford Taurus. That those two I'll probably just build up and do a proper job on it. But this here I was figuring just show off as a quick build with nothing too fancy. And then, yeah, one thing I do, then comparing it back with the AMT kit, there's a lot more going on the roll bar, as you got the cross bracing with the padding, whereas with this you just have some roof supports and nothing major. So I guess, but they could have only gotten so much detail without one kit. So, but for what both those kits are, they're not bad. And yeah. So then we do, for the kits, you do have the figurines, which I was originally tempting to use, but I'm thinking might as well build this up as just a basic car and use the driver on another race car kit that I might end up doing, since the other two Revell cars do have the characters. So, of course, whenever you have a driver with a kit, it's always a nice addition to have. Even though you may not use it on a certain build, may come in handy later. So, there's pretty much that, and then finish up building it up and getting together, and hopefully be all done with it. At the end now, finally. So, got all the decals on the car all done up, and I think it turned out quite nicely. Now, the one thing that I will say about this is, because the body is done up in like a glossy finish, the decals do like to slide around quite a lot. So with that, what I would recommend is you take like some Tamiya decal setting solution and wipe those over top. That would work out a lot better than just leaving them on with water. But because as you can see here on the one, it slid off, so that I'll end up fixing up later. But for as is, wasn't that bad. It feels more around the same as your typical Revell NASCAR kit from the 90s and 2000s. So I think it's pretty decent. And along with it, to compare it again with the AMT NASCAR from 2010, this one here, you definitely get a lot more if you're someone who's into a lot of detail work. But if you're someone who just wants to get something for the kids to have fun, something like this would be ideal realistically, since there's a few dozen pieces to it, but nothing major to put together. And there's pretty much that. So yeah, I'm probably going to build up the other two kits eventually, but more going to do those as a side task and not not as a full video most likely, as I just wanted to get, just to show what the car kit pretty much is for itself. Which I think it's pretty nice. So yeah, and then that will be it. That'll be it for this video, and who knows, might end up doing some more builds up again. See what happens. Bye.